Pay this $500 fine or I'm calling the cops. That's what my HOA president screamed over grass height. But when the police arrived and the officer looked at my wife, his entire face changed, like he'd just seen a ghost. And that was the moment I realized my wife wasn't who I thought she was. Pay this $500 fine or I'm calling the cops. Sharon Allen, our HOA president, screamed across the yard. What started as a fight over grass height was about to uncover a secret so deep it would tear this entire neighborhood apart. My name is Noah Rogers. I thought I knew my wife, but that day I realized I didn't know her at all. Amanda, my wife, was the calmest, kindest soul I'd ever met. She baked cookies for the mailman. She apologized to furniture when she bumped into it. She never raised her voice in 15 years of marriage. But Sharon Allen hated her on sight. When Sharon became HOA president, she came knocking, and from the very first handshake, something felt wrong. She looked at Amanda like she'd seen a ghost. 3 weeks later, we came home from vacation to find a violation notice stuck to our door. $85, because our grass measured 3.4 inches instead of 3.0. And Sharon had stood on our porch for 10 minutes taking pictures like it was a crime scene. I thought Amanda would laugh it off. Instead, she opened her laptop, pulled out a legal pad, and began quoting property codes I didn't even know existed. For the first time, I saw a new side of her. When Amanda refused to pay, Sharon escalated. She drove past our house 3 or 4 times a day, slowing down, staring. She asked neighbors about us like she was investigating a crime. One night, I caught Amanda staring at an old newspaper clipping. The headline, "Charity Fraud Trial." The blurry photo, a woman who looked a lot like Sharon. Sharon spent $400 on a private investigator to dig into Amanda's past, but the report came back spotless. That only made her angrier. At the next HOA meeting, Amanda stood up, and the calm, sweet woman I married vanished. She cited Texas property code like she'd written it herself. Sharon's face drained of color. That night, Sharon sat in her car outside our house for 20 minutes. She stared at Amanda's silhouette through our window before screaming in her car with the windows rolled up. Mrs. Peterson overheard Sharon muttering in her backyard. "That voice," she kept saying, "that courtroom voice, I know it. It ruined my life." Late one night, Amanda compared the courthouse photo to Sharon's HOA portrait. She held him side by side, whispering, "Noah, do you think people can change so much you wouldn't recognize them after 8 years?"
When Officer Jackson arrived, he took one look at Amanda and froze. "Ma'am, you look very familiar." Amanda just smiled politely, but Sharon, she screamed like she'd seen a ghost. I stood there completely lost. My wife, the woman who baked cookies for the neighborhood, was somehow connected to Sharon's deepest fear. But how? That night, I asked Amanda straight out, "What's going on?" She just smiled softly and said, "It's complicated, Noah, but I promise you I've dealt with people like her before." By now, Sharon had lost control. She told anyone who would listen that Amanda was dangerous, a fraud, a criminal in disguise. But the more she screamed, the more the neighborhood started to doubt her. One night, I walked into Amanda's office and saw the truth. Case files, court documents, photos of Sharon leaving a courthouse years ago. My wife wasn't just a consultant, she was a former federal prosecutor. I confronted Amanda. "Why didn't you tell me?" She looked me dead in the eyes and said, "Because I thought that part of my life was behind me. But Sharon was one of my cases." Sharon doubled down. She spread lies that Amanda was laundering money, hiding stolen funds, even running a con game. But the more she accused, the more isolated she became. At the next HOA meeting, Sharon exploded. She screamed across the room, accusing Amanda of ruining her life 8 years ago in a fraud trial. The entire community stared in stunned silence. When Sharon tried to file false fraud charges, Officer Jackson returned. But this time, instead of arresting Amanda, he placed Sharon in handcuffs for harassment and false reporting. That night, Amanda finally told me everything. 8 years ago, Sharon was caught stealing from a children's charity. Amanda was the prosecutor who put her away, and Sharon never forgot her face. Word spread fast. The neighborhood finally understood who the real problem was. Sharon lost every ounce of credibility she had, and Amanda, she earned everyone's respect. Life slowly returned to normal. My wife went back to baking cookies, tending her garden, and working quietly from home. But I'll never forget the day I discovered the woman I married wasn't just the gentle soul. She was justice itself.